Okay. I'm a couple minutes late, but that's okay. Welcome back. Episode 3. Whoop whoop. Okay. All right. So last time, Kyle got sent in by Fessy to go up against Joseph because Fessy was not okay that, Kyle straight up lied to him and Anissa about his vote. So, they were basically trying to punish Kyle, and I don't know if I think like when I first did the recap, like last week because it was soon after the episode. I'm pretty sure I was saying something like how I, like kind of get where Fessy's coming from with, I mean, Kyle lied to his face, so like punish him or whatever. I still agree, but I also, I mean, at the same time, I don't think I mentioned last week, but I also am kind of like, why would you not volunteer? Because I mean, it was very clear that it was going to be very physical, and also, I mean, it was Joseph. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's almost like with Jen from last season. Like any girl could have went up against Jen and honestly could have like won. So it's like, why didn't you, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like anyone could have really beaten Joseph. It was kind of like an easy gold skull. So I mean, then again, Joseph did kind of put up a fight, but I feel like compared to everybody else, Joseph was like the one, like the easy gold skull. So I really don't know, but I mean, I can kind of get it, but I think in a weird way, Fessy wasn't that selfish. Even though I feel like he kind of was, but I also feel like he kind of wasn't. Like, he was selfish to go against the main plan of putting in Wes, but I feel like Wes would have just won the gold skull. So I think it was so smart to not put in Wes at least. But anyway, like I mentioned from last week, Kyle takes not Cam from Josh. So then Josh picks Nany, and then CT is then with Big T. So this episode, we're Fessy basically is like, hey Kyle, I just want to let you know the reason why I did that, why I sent you, was because that secret vote isn't so secret because me and Anissa know how y'all voted for her. And everybody's shook. Just this huge truth bomb, this huge like thing that no one expected. Everyone's just like, oh, y'all know how we voted. Like they're just, So Kyle is caught red-handed. But then Josh basically, or not, sorry, Kyle, he basically goes, well, the thing is that I only lied to you guys, but like for most of this house, I was very truthful with how I voted. And then I don't remember exactly how, but somehow like the argument then involved Wes and how like pretty much the entire house voted for like there were so many people that were trying to go for Natalie and Wes, including like Big T, Corey, like Nelson, Cam, like Gabby, like all these people voting in Natalie and Wes. So a lot of people were just kind of like there's like there were a handful of people that were going to vote in Wes and Natalie, and it could have happened, but it didn't. So so Wes is all like, what? Like Corey and Nelson, which I mean, I know he like was trying to like campaign to like work with them, but the way he was phrasing it, it made it seem like he is like besties with like Corey and Nelson, but it's like not. Like as far as I know, that they're not really besties, but I don't know. So regardless, like there's this fight, and then Cam basically is like trying to calm Kyle down because she's like, hey Kyle, you're my new partner, you need to chill because whatever you do is gonna affect me, so don't be getting in all this drama right away. But and then Kyle basically is saying like Fessy's weak and scared and yada yada yada, whatever. That's pretty much the main thing. So then we go on to the daily challenge, which is called Roadkill. And basically, two pairs, because now there's 28 people, two pairs will face off on this moving truck 50 miles per hour, because if if trucks are not involved in the season, is it really the challenge? You know what I mean? Like, you have to have trucks and fire. If you don't, then it's not a real challenge show. So the two pairs, like men and the women, they basically try to wrestle each other off and try to go into these nets. That's it. Pretty simple. It's just a wrestling, but on a moving truck, because again, it's a challenge. So basically, there were three main pairs that got it done like the fastest, like getting their opponent off. And it was basically, they made it very specific that it was that if you were the first one to have all of your body parts like leave the truck first, then you would lose. So you could be quickly pulled in, but if you keep your feet on the thing longer than your opponent, then you could still technically win. So, for example, Josh really was convinced that he just took out Wes. Josh is a little bit obsessed with Wes. It's kind of weird, but he was very like, "Oh, I totally beat you. Like, yeah, like I totally I got you off." But the thing is that it then says like winners, Wes and Natalie. That was like one of the matchups. I don't remember. I can't tell you like all the matchups specifically, but all I know is that in that one it was like Nany and Josh against Wes and Natalie. And I also thought it was kind of funny, like, because I think in episode 0, they had an episode 0 special, which I didn't get to watch, so I couldn't recap it. But it showed a clip of like Nany talking, I think, and then the B-roll footage was like, or no, I think it was Natalie talking, and the B-roll footage was basically Nany trying to push Natalie, but like she couldn't do anything, and she just it was like so funny. Oh my goodness! But Natalie, so Natalie and Wes, they were in the top 3. So the top 3 pairs mentioned were those two, Natalie and Wes, as well as Nam and Lolo, and Leroy and Casey. But the team to get their opponents off the fastest was Leroy and Casey. I would have preferred the other two, because Natalie and Wes, it's like, ooh, power shifting. Oh my god, like, oh no, because they've been targeted. Like, Wes and Natalie almost got in. Like, they barely escaped the last elimination. But Big T and Joseph had issues, and Fessy was mad at Kyle. So, Wes dodged a bullet last round. So, but regardless, and also I think Nam and Lolo, I think that would have been a very, because you're kind of like, oh, what they're gonna do. Well, I think they would have voted in Wes and Natalie, I think, honestly, because they're both rookies, so they probably would go after the champs. So maybe it's not, but I just think it would be interesting because they're just an interesting pair. But kind of wish one of those two won instead of Leroy and Casey, but it is what it is. Leroy and Casey win. They, then speaking of Casey, oh my goodness. So Casey, I think, tried to was miscooking. Like, she was cooking some pizza thing on like the stove, but she did it wrong somehow. And then CT was like, yo, like, what are you doing? And it's kind of playful. Like, CT isn't so mad at Casey. It's not like an actual fight or anything. But Josh overhears a little bit. And Josh gets so defensive and protective over Casey. And it's just Casey's not a child. You know what I mean? Casey's not a 5-year-old. Casey, she's a big girl. She can stand up for herself. And then Josh is all CT, why would you do that? And also Casey's now crying. And then CT's like, okay, well, let me go check in. And then CT kind of brushes Josh off, be like, dude, this has nothing to do with you, yada, yada, yada. And then, you know, CT's like apologizing, being like, I'm sorry, you know, because Casey goes like, I was just a bit upset. And then Josh is like, yeah, that's what I said. Like, you know, she said she was upset, even though Josh literally said that she was crying, but Casey was like, no, I'm not crying. I'm just a bit upset. And then CT's like, no, Josh, you said that Casey was crying and she's not. It's just a mess. And so like Josh is, I mean, I appreciate this episode in the sense that it's showing like Josh being a clown. And then like CT and Josh, they get into a little bit of fight. I mean, I can kind of understand where CT is coming from being annoyed with Josh, because Josh is like, it seems like he was like this last season where Josh was getting in everybody's business and like it was just ridiculous. So I wasn't too sure why CT yelled as much as he did. But I mean, then again, like I feel like if I had to be in that house, I would probably get annoyed with him too. So I mean, I don't entirely blame CT for like yelling at Josh. Because I mean, I probably could have, I would have just probably done the same thing because, it was just being annoying. But regardless, then we go ahead. I don't remember exactly like the transition, but somehow I think like after CT and Josh were done with their little fight, oh no, I think CT was like, all right, does anyone have any other complaints? Like, does anyone else have to say anything? And Devin is all like, Big Brother sucks, or something like that. And I mean, yes, the last handful of seasons have kind of been, but I'm, then again, this is Devin, who seems to have problems with Big Brother people for whatever reason. I don't really know. He had a problem with Fessy not going in the first episode, which I mean, plus it was a woman's elimination anyway. I mean, not that he knew that, but I mean, it's the first one. Like, I don't know why you would go in the very first elimination, but regardless, it just seems like Devin had issues, and then he also had issues with Natalie on like the Vendetta season. So I don't know. So it seems like Devin, like I mentioned, I just feel like he has a weird obsession with Big Brother people. But then he was saying in his confession that he was just joking with the whole Big Brother thing. I think he kind of was, but kind of not. It was like kind of joking, but there was like a bit of truth to it. And then Casey got pretty mad, and she's like, I'm a double H at this time. You're saying Big Brother sucks? You better watch yourself. That's essentially what she was saying. Like, I don't know. I personally wasn't like, I don't know. I think, I don't know. I wouldn't have been like so offended, but and then I don't know what happens, but then Tori mentions something about like, oh, Devin is like, gaslighting. What was the other word? Triggering. Was gaslighting and triggering Josh. That's not even close to gaslighting or triggering. I really don't think. I was really confused. Like, Tori must have like recently learned before she got on the show what, like, she recently must have heard what like the word gaslight and trigger, like people using it in a sentence, and she's like, I'm just going to use that briefly. And she's one of those people. Also, Tori was making me cringe because she was like, oh, I don't really feel that bad because she hurt Liv, and like Liv had to like be rushed to the hospital because I think it was like her shoulder arm thing was messed up, which we'll get back to the challenge with Liv and also Nicole in a bit. But yeah, it was, I don't know. And then Devin was just, or no, just people just got really mad. Oh, and then Josh kept like yelling, being like, "Oh, you're such a," I'm not gonna say those words, but you're weak, you're scared, you're a chicken. to make it clean, but all these things. And then for some reason, Devin's all like, "What's 8 times 9? What's 8 times 9? Hey Josh, what's 8 times 9?" It was kind of funny, like just Devin like pushing Josh's buttons. Even though I'm not the biggest Devin fan, I'm not like like whoa, love Devin, but at the same time, I'm gonna be taking his side on this one. So yeah. So regardless, I just I'm just like I'm just done with Josh. I don't want it. But also something that I didn't mention, and that's why I had to bring up Liv and Nicole, was that during the daily challenge, Liv and Nicole had to get rushed to the hospital because Liv's her arm shoulder thing was broken, and then Nicole's shoulder like popped out and was dislocated. So it was a big yikes. But regardless, Liv, she is not officially out yet because apparently like she had a chip on her shoulder, but they don't know if it's like an actual like a bone thing or what. So Liv could be gone next episode, but we just don't know for sure. But Nicole is totally out. So she's out. She's medically evacuated from the game, unfortunately. So Nicole, and for 3 seasons, she's never been out by elimination. It's always been, she made it to the final or medically evacuated. And also, I was talking with a friend who watched the show with me, and I was talking about how Nicole, like I mentioned, like either medically evacuated or final, and how on Vendettas she got medically evacuated during the final. And then I was really confused. He was saying how like, oh, I count that as not a medically evacuation, or medically DQ, whatever. But that she just lost the final on Vendettas. But it's like she had to get removed because of an injury. I don't really quite get that, because I feel like by that logic, I don't know, it's almost like, does that mean that this is technically like her like getting purged? I don't really quite, I don't know. I didn't really get where he was coming from. Feel free to comment and debate. I just don't really quite understand at all. But yeah, Nicole and Liv possibly, I don't know, she might go home. I feel like she could be medically evacuated next episode. They just, because they weren't too sure right away, they kept her for at least a little bit, but I don't know. That's my prediction. But yeah, Nicole's totally out. So we're just now going to get into the voting. So they're all discussing, and then Devin's basically saying, well, I think it's probably going to be me because of what happened. But basically he just thought I was like, I want to say Tori and Corey. And then Tori gets pretty upset because Tori and Devin have history on Are You the One Second Chances. So, but then again, wouldn't they think it's a men's elimination because Nicole's DQ or like, medically evacuated? So wouldn't they like think that? I don't really know. But regardless, then Josh goes on to be like, I want Devin gone, yada yada yada. And so Devin and Josh, they have their own like round 2. I don't know. It was just ridiculous. It's just Josh is clearly wanting screen time and trying to be relevant. I'm just like so sick of it, because I just hope they stop casting him, because so many people on social media are sick of it. So I don't know. It's just weird, but regardless, the vote comes out, and Devin and Nicole are voted in, or I guess just Devin because Nicole's not here. But Devin is voted in, and he now, so it's already confirmed he's going in. We were in case you see that, and they look at the people who are voting, and they're kind of shocked. They're like, why? They're like, wow, like I can't believe like all these people like voted that way. But I forgot where they. I mean, I guess there were still plenty of people that wanted Wes and Natalie. I'm not too sure. Well, I mean, we'll have to wait because on the MTV YouTube channel, like MTV The Challenge YouTube channel, they recently have been releasing like clips of like how everybody voted per episode. Voters Declassified, just look that up, and you should find like how all the votes went on the first two votes. But for this one, only we know that Devin voted Corey and Tori, and CT voted Nicole and Devin. But yeah, I mean, Devin has a target, I guess, just in general for his reputation, and also now with the fight with Josh. And then sorry, my mind's going blank. Corey and Tori from just going after people from the other side, and because Corey was one of the people to vote against Wes, so but we're now gonna just go into the elimination. Oh, and then also Wes is basically talking to Leroy, being like, listen, like, I don't know what you guys want from me. Like, I'm like begging just to stay, and like just you lend a hand, whatever. So, but Wes is talking to Leroy about it, but Cam and Leroy are just kind of like, especially Cam is just not having it. She's just like, listen here, like, like Wes, you're not like, just this mastermind like every season, like especially not this one, and we're just not gonna give you everything you want, and all that stuff, and like we just can't like trust you. So now we get into the elimination, and the creator game is called Snapping Point. So pretty much what happens is Devin and Wes, they're attached to two sides of a rope, and they basically have to zigzag through the poles, through these like pole things, and go and try to hit a button. It's kind of similar to like what was on Free Agents? I forget what it was called. There's a similar challenge on there where it's kind of like the same thing. I'm going back now because I want to see what it was called. Let's see. Okay, Free Agents. What was it called? It was called Looper. If you watch Free Agents Looper, it's kind of like the same thing, except instead of like vertical, it was both like two different directions, and they both went in the same direction. So the rope was like, that's the best demonstration I could come up with, but they just zigzag to go forward to hit a button instead of going on different sides. So just a different visual aspect. But we then go, so the challenge happens, and at first, Wes and Devin are pretty much neck and neck. And this is a tough challenge because I haven't been catching up with people too much during like between seasons, but I guess Wes and Devin are pretty tight, like they're besties essentially. So Wes and Devin are both devastated that they have to go up against each other. It's like not really fun for either one of them, but they're still going in as as much as possible, and comes down to Wes and Devin, they're pretty much neck and neck, but then West starts to slow down, and I feel like West was just checked out essentially, because Devin keeps inching like forward and forward, and eventually Devin ends up hitting the button, so Devin is safe, and Devin wins the third gold skull. So Devin sends West home, which it's crazy. We've had 2 champions leave already, in like 3 episodes. So it's very interesting. It's crazy. So now that Wes is out of the game, Devin now has to make a choice. He can either infiltrate and steal a partner, or he can take Natalie. I think I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. But basically, Devin says, he would like to take Natalie because she's a Survivor champion. He decides to infiltrate and steal Corey's partner, Tori. So now it's Devin and Tori together. So I don't know if, because Tori's not thrilled. Although I think, weirdly enough, Tori was rooting for Devin. I could have sworn she was rooting for Devin. So I don't know why. Also, Josh was also rooting for West to win, which that was weird. And I don't know why Tori was rooting for Devin. I guess maybe Tori is still threatened by West as like a champion, and Josh, because he fought with Devin this season, Josh has just kind of forgot about West. I don't know. It's weird, like his energy, like, is West your enemy or not? I mean, I guess maybe they made up. I don't really know. I don't get it. Again, I never understand what goes on in Josh's mind. Sorry, I just can't. But anyway, regardless, moving on. So Corey now has Natalie, which I think I would have taken Natalie, I think, over Tori, in my opinion. No offense, Tori, if you're watching. I just hit my earphones. But I don't know. I would have probably taken Natalie, but okay. I don't know if it's like Devin trying to sabotage and like take Tori away from like the other side. I'm not too sure. I'm a little confused, but I don't know. But yeah, so new partners. I'm honestly surprised that I thought it was going to be that. I don't know. For some reason, I kind of thought that maybe like Natalie would get Corey would get a choice and not just be automatically stuck with Natalie, but I guess not. I guess because there was already a rogue agent with Natalie, and Nicole was already gone. So there's one person less out of the equation, but regardless. Now we have 26 people, 13 pairs left. So it's still an even match. There's no rogue agents anymore. So I'm very or there's still not a rogue agent, although Devin technically was, but I guess not. So now I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with the next challenge. I don't even remember what the daily was going to be, what they showed. I forgot what it was. I don't know. All I know is that they're already going to have a hall brawl. And I feel like the last few seasons, anytime they've had a hall brawl, it's kind of in the second half, like the later half of the season. So very interesting that they're having the hall brawl like pretty early on. So I'm very curious to see, what's going to happen, like who's going to go in. So I don't know. I mean, it could be too. I feel like I don't know. It could be a woman's thing. I guess another like female hall brawl, which I would like to see. Because if it's going in the same order, it should be a woman's elimination. Unless Liv gets medevac, then I guess it'll be another guy's elimination. Because multiple girls keep getting injured. Yeah, I was kind of a little worried about how the elimination was gonna, or not the elimination, the daily challenge was gonna go. I just had a feeling something bad was going to happen, and lo and behold, 2 people get sent in the hospital. Who would have thunk it? But now that and then also in the preview for next episode, looks like Teresa's like, I don't really trust these people. So Teresa's getting some screen time. Okay. And then Jay, it looks like he's arguing with Josh. And Jay's like, I'm not like these other guys you can talk to or whatever. So I guess Josh is just getting in all the drama this season. All the drama. I don't know why, but he just is. I'm hoping it's a guys elimination. Josh gets sent in. I hope so. Praying. But yeah, with that being said, that's going to be the end of this live stream. So if you guys like this video, this live stream, be sure to give it a thumbs up and be sure to comment down below all your thoughts about this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you happy that Devin beat Wes? I think a lot of people probably not, but maybe a lot of people just don't care about the 2 people in general. But let me know down below. And don't forget to share this live stream. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and ring the bell. So, click the subscribe button and be sure to click the little notification bell next to the subscribe button so that we can get notified every time I post a new video. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media links down below. That's going to be the end of this live stream, and I'll see you little masters later. Goodbye.